Now, turning to our big story this evening here on ET Now, it's about the electoral bonds and the information that the Supreme Court has asked the State Bank of India to provide has now been published. The State Bank of India, complying with the demands of the Supreme Court, has gone ahead and put out, given that information to the Election Commission, and now they've put it out on the Election Commission website. To talk about this, the former Chief Election Commissioner, SBI Quraishi, is joining us. Mr. Quraishi, a very good evening and thanks for making the time for joining us on ET Now. I know you've been very vocal about the right to information of voters and the electoral bonds. You have said it violates the right to information. Now that this information has been put out on the Election Commission's website, what are your largest takeaways? Are you satisfied with the kind of information that has been provided on the website? Have you had a chance to look at it?
No, I haven't had a chance to look at it. But, in any case, I'm partly satisfied. I'm absolutely satisfied that the scheme has been declared unconstitutional, and the act which was passed to introduce the scheme, and along with the concomitant amendment to various other acts, they've all gone now. We are back to square one. However, why I'm only partially satisfied? Because while the donors will be known and the recipients will be known, but there is no match. Who donated to whom, which is what we wanted to know, citizens wanted to know, that hasn't happened. That was not in the original order of the Supreme Court also. Therefore, only thing you'll have to do some intelligent guesswork. Since these bonds are sold in tranches of 10 days, 15 days, and they have to be encashed within those 15 days. So if you analyze a tranche, you will notice a broad trend, but that is still the guesstimate and not a final figure. But interesting thing, I would like to point out that when the SBI sought extension till June, they said that they require that much time to match the two. So, whereas some experts are saying that matching is impossible, but SBI itself has said that they can match it provided they're given time till June. My suggestion would be that the Supreme Court should say, okay, all right, if you can do it, we give you time. Please match the two, because matching that information will disclose the nexus and the quid pro quo, which was the whole purpose behind the legal exercise.
But that matching of the information, Mr. Quraishi, how important is it for that to happen before the elections this time?
Well, ideally it should have happened before the election, but the fact that the experts have been saying that it is impossible to correlate, but the SBI says that they can do it till June, so at least we'll have something. Because idea is to clean up the system, not immediate election may or may not be the focal point, but cleaning up the system, transparency of political funding. I would like to remind you that in the budget speech of Mr. Jaitley in 2017, when he introduced the scheme, his very first sentence was that without transparency of political funding, free and fair elections are not possible. And free and fair elections are a basic structure of the Constitution. So, therefore, transparency has to be brought in, even if it takes 2 months, 3 months, but we have to keep working on it.
Are you convinced that that's the kind of time that it would take for the matching to take place? Or do you think it can be done in a shorter period of time and the Supreme Court can intervene and ask for it to be done faster?
Well, Supreme Court had indeed asked them, but I'm referring to Mr. Subhash Garg, former finance secretary, who was there at the time when the scheme was introduced. He has very categorically said that it is impossible to match the two because of the particular technical details of the scheme, that there is a secret code and which is not disclosed, and this information is here and the other information is somewhere else. So he thought it was impossible. But if SBI to the Supreme Court said that they can do it by June and they wanted that time, at least now it should be given to them.
Mr. Quraishi, what do you make of the entire process that has been followed through to be able to get this kind of transparency?
Come again? What is the question?
The transparency that had to be fought for.
Yes.
What do you make of the entire legal process that had to be followed through for this right to information to come through?
Well, the ADR had gone to the Supreme Court under the Right to Information Act only that voters want to know. And Supreme Court has been upholding the right to of information of the voter from 2002 or 3. In fact, the fact that we know about the criminal antecedents of the candidates and the financial antecedents of the candidate, that happened because of ADR and other civil society organization going to Supreme Court upholding that right, and it made it mandatory for every candidate to give two affidavits declaring their financial statements and their criminal antecedent. That's how we know, so that we can make an informed choice. So it is a continuation, and here in this case, in the larger public interest, because corruption in election is the mother of all corruption in the country. If some corporates are funding and in return they're getting some licenses and contracts and bank loans with which they run away, as we all know, how many lakhs of crores have been written off. But we would like to know who are these people whose loans were written off? Were they big donors of political parties? So that is what citizens want to know. Therefore, this whole transparency issue is very, very critical, and I hope it is taken to its logical conclusion.
That kind of information, Mr. Quraishi, that will still have to be done by the power of deduction rather than being out on a public forum like an ECI website, wouldn't you say?
Well, ECI website, in any case, the ECI was only acting as a post office. They were not expected to analyze the data. They received the data from SBI. They put it on the website, which is why you notice they got received it yesterday. And although they had time till tomorrow, but they have put it up today because they didn't have to do anything. And I think they used the word as is, where is basis. Whatever it came to them, they uploaded it. There is no analysis involved there. So, but of course, there will be experts who will be analyzing, and if the matching can be disclosed by SBI itself, because they were the ones who sold the bond and they were the ones who redeemed the bond. So the entire information is on their computers.
Mr. Qureshi,
Only
that
thing
kind
is
of
how to
matching,
match
that
it.
kind of information that emerges, how much of a bearing do you think that's going to have on the outcome of the elections this time?
No. I think for that it is a bit too late. And in any case, we have noticed people are so indifferent because although under the right to information, we know that 43% of MPs have criminal cases pending against them. And it is not an allegation. They have given their own affidavit. And the Supreme Court has repeatedly asked them that when they file their nomination, when they seek vote, they say, vote for me. But please remember that I have seen so many criminal cases against me. They are supposed to publish it 3 times. Election Commission is supposed to monitor. Despite that, people vote these criminals in, and the number has been going up and up, and the last parliament, it has gone up to 43%, almost half the parliament. So obviously, when we say decriminalize politics, these are not the guys who are going to vote for decriminalization because their number is increasing. So we find that the voters that way are not conducting themselves
Yes.
with that kind of conviction. I mean, I don't know what considerations
So, Mr.
determine their
Qureshi, what
voting
you're
behavior.
saying is that it was important that this information came out, and the matching, of course, as and when it happens, is going to be a crucial exercise as well. The electoral bonds, in a sense, like you've been saying very vocally, is a violation of the right to information, and the opaqueness wasn't acceptable. And this you're saying in your capacity as the former Chief Election Commissioner of India. We appreciate you joining us with your candid comments on this. Thank you for joining us, for making the time and speaking to us about this here on ET Now.
Thank you very much.